At West Hill High School in Stamford, Connecticut, the Vikings football team has gotten off to a 3-1 start. What most fans don't know is the player touching the ball on every play deals with a very rare blood disorder.
It reshapes your blood cells in your body, so it's harder for oxygen to pass through and stuff. When it's too hot, everything starts slowing down for me, everything. My head starts hurting, I start breathing harder, getting tired faster. In football, there's a lot of movement hidden, so it might get a little hard to breathe at times. So
Starting center and senior Peter Leandre has sickle cell disease, a disorder that reshapes the red blood cells, making it more difficult for them to get through the bloodstream. Peter gets dizzy and is at an increased risk for dehydration and blood clotting.
We really didn't know, so we didn't know how to manage it and stuff. Once I found out about it and then I read up a little bit on it and that kind of thing, then I knew what we could do, what his limitations were, how to recognize his limitations and that kind of thing. Some kids, as a coach, you'll sit there and you'll try to motivate the kids and get them to come on, let's go, work harder and all that. With Pete, it's like, that's a good job, Pete. You know what I mean? You have to take a different mental approach as a coach with a kid like that. There's a fine line that as a coach with a kid that's got that kind of illness that you have to walk.
they know when to back off sometimes. Sometimes they'll see me taking breaks and they'll just accept it. But they could tell when I'm actually tired, or more I'm just trying to stop running.
Peter has worked with his coaches to make sure he has an adequate plan on and off the field. It also helps that he is being led by a very experienced coaching staff.
Being a paramedic, I'm a medical guy, so that helps.
Every year I go to Yale Hospital and they'll give me some medicine and they expect me to take it every week and every day and stuff. So there's eye drops that I take so I don't get it in my eye, and then there's some pills I take as well.
He goes up to Yale every year and he said to me, Coach, I gotta go for my annual physical up to Yale. We're not gonna have him for a day of practice. That's part of the process.
I remember junior years, the first game, that was the hottest game I ever played in. Everything felt crazy, and it was my first varsity start too, so I didn't want to mess up, but I was like, Sickle cell, don't slow me down,
Peter has been nominated by his coaches and the team for the Heart of a Giant Award, given annually to a tri-state area football player who embodies what it means to truly have the heart of a giant.
He doesn't like to fail. He works really hard. He's got good work ethic as far as that goes. He brings a certain mental toughness, because to have this kind of illness, you have to be mentally tough to deal with it.
If Peter wins the award, he will be honored during an on-field ceremony at a New York Giants home game and will win a $5,000 grant for the West Hill football program. Whether or not he wins the award, he will continue to offer his advice on how to deal with sickle cell to those who surely need it.
Don't think about it too much while you're playing, because it might mess up your head, but you just keep it in the back of your head that be ready for anything, always have your medication, and hydrate well.
Make sure you keep an eye on him and make sure that they're hydrated and that he overhydrates almost. And if he starts to show signs where he's excessively sweating or sweating like the other kids are, he really needs fluid replacement. And you have to make sure his teammates are aware of it too, so that they're not getting on him because he's lagging behind in something or something like that, and they more encourage him rather than beat on him. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to beat on him physically, but how come you're not going harder and that kind of thing when he's giving you 150% all the time anyway.
The polls are open, and to vote for Peter in the West Hill football program, please visit usafootball.com. At West Hill High School in Stamford, Connecticut, I'm Justin DeVellis, Sacred Heart Sports Media.